And we are live. Welcome to Sci-Trek, your sci-fi TV and movie channel with Matthew. Hello, Matthew. And young Harris, a young American, way over there, but in Italy.
Howdy. Yeah.
He's actually only down the road from us here in Europe.
Just across the pond.
But good morning, good afternoon, and good the hell evening, wherever the hell you are in the world. Right, so this week we thought we would do a little bit of a video where we would have a think back on 2022 and we would basically review it and just make sure that we are actually live because nobody is watching.
I just typed in howdy all group chat, so we should be live, I believe.
Excellent.
It is
Okay.
live now, yeah, just checked.
We're good, all good. You never quite know. But yeah, we're going to review 2022. We're going to talk about what we loved, what we maybe didn't love so much, what surprised us, and what, we're desperate for more of. So, first of all, we always do our little bit at the start. What have you been watching this week, chaps? Because I got to say, there ain't a lot on at the moment. But I am going to throw my first thing in the hat of what 2022 this year that I have absolutely adored and can't wait for more of. Andor. And episode 11 was on this year. It also surprised me because Star Wars TV shows are bloody brilliant, and I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. But so that's the main thing I've probably watched this week. What about you guys?
You want to go, Matt? I've been traveling, so I haven't watched as much as usual, but I've probably watched a solid third of a season of Stargate SG-1 just because SGA Atlantis is not available yet on Prime in Italy apparently. So I've just been going through SG-1, but I haven't. I'm trying to keep it well paced so I don't overlap. But besides that, I watched the new Andor episode, and then I saw Black Panther, of course, last week. But we talked about that last Sunday.
Yes, we don't have to rehash that nightmare. How about you,
Matthew? The only thing I've watched this week, I finished Manifest, the 10 episodes that have been released so far.
Was it God? Did God do it? It was God, right?
Kind of. there's been some revelations. There's been some revelations, and it is very biblical. Like I said last week, it's kind of disappointing. This is
the show. I'm just saying to you, mate, I knew from very early on this was going to be disappointing because they built it up way too much. It was a bit like Lost. It was always going to be disappointing. But anyway.
I was talking to my missus about it after we'd finished watching it, and I'm not excited to watch the next episode, but I want to watch it because I want to know what happens. I just need closure. I just need to know how it ends. But every episode it ends, and I'm just like, well, that was stupid. Why the hell did that happen? It is the most disappointing show I've watched this year.
I got to ask you guys a question before we get stuck in it. Right? Have you ever become so invested in a TV show that you continue to watch it, even though you got to a point where you couldn't remember why?
You mean the entire Arrowverse?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, the entire Arrowverse. I was watching The Flash because that's the one I started with. After season 3, it just got so ridiculous and so fucking stupid. I love The Flash. He's my favorite superhero. Oh my god! It's the next season that comes out. It's the final one, and I'm so happy it's the final one because I'm going to watch it because it's The Flash. But I just don't want to be disappointed anymore.
I loved the Arrowverse when it started, and I was one of those people that would be watching Legends of Tomorrow, The Flash, Arrow, Supergirl, yada yada, back and forth. By Supergirl season 2, by Arrow season whatever the hell it was, and Flash whatever season it was, and I don't know what happened to Jay, but Legends of Tomorrow's too. It's just all of it just went so bad. We've got audio at least. There we go.
Gone. Well, Arrow was amazing up until
Four-ish, three-ish, four-ish.
Four, I think four. The season with Prometheus. That was the last good one. Not Prometheus. Not Prometheus. That was season one. That bloke, Adrian.
Not Adrian Brody. Adrian Chase. Adrian Chase.
Adrian Chase. Yeah.
What's the character? That's not Guardian. It's obviously that's John Diggle.
Hang on, frantic googling.
No. I got it. I got this. I just had it in my head. It's. Oh, come on.
Oh, he was. No, he was Prometheus. Yeah.
He's Prometheus, but he was also Vigilante, right? Didn't he play Vigilante?
Yes.
Okay.
He was called Vigilante towards the beginning, and then he came out to be. Yeah. Anyway, up until season 4, it was fantastic, and it just got completely. I never ended up finishing Arrow because I got so bored of it.
Yeah, I never watched the final season. I almost did just because they did their whole Crisis on Infinite Earths, but I just kind of I realized how many episodes of TV I had to watch prior to watching Crisis on Infinite Earths, and I was like, I can't do it. I'm not doing this.
Yeah, Legends of Tomorrow was good up until the point. I think in the season with Reverse Flash, after that it got really awful. So I think it was season 2, maybe season 3.
2 or 3.
Essentially, Reverse Flash was in it with John Barrowman's character, Damien Dark, and someone else. I can't remember who, but it was it was really good up until after that.
Yeah. No, I thought their best season was when Snart died at the end of it, and that was really well done actually. And
there's an old thing. Oh, by the way, I disappeared because I made the error of once you set yourself up to go on a live stream, don't touch anything. And I touched something.
Have you touched
everything?
It sounds like something.
Audio settings.
Have I touched my audio? Is my audio rubbish as well? Oh, God's sake.
Un poquito.
Oh, yeah, it's defaulted to my everything reset.
Hey.
Better.
There's that beautiful voice right there.
Everything reset, so everything turned off. All I did was move my microphone. Don't touch anything when you go live. God damn it. I watched the first couple of episodes of Heroes of Tomorrow, whatever it's called, and I realized very quickly, well, that's not Iron Man, and turned it off. And
no, it's Superman.
Oh, shocking!
Yeah, technically.
I stopped watching Arrow about 4 seasons in, and so there's a thing, a brave man shouldn't be afraid of the weather, but a wise man knows when to get in and out of the rain. If it's not very good anymore, just stop watching it. Is the point of that little metaphor? But I stopped watching it. But I tell you what, a show that
I'm invested now.
Yeah,
I'm invested.
That's boring.
There's something like that.
I think a big one for me was Bones. Did you ever watch Bones a few years ago? I watched that all the way to the end, but after about season 6, I was just like, I don't know why I'm still watching this show. But I was also half expecting something to happen, and it didn't. But yeah, and Lost.
I got like that with Scrubs. Did you ever watch Scrubs?
Yeah, I watched Scrubs.
I watched that all the way through until the finale, and I wish I didn't.
Yeah,
because it was really good in the beginning, and the final season, and then I think there was another season when they were like residents or they had interns or whatever. It was just awful. It
got serious. It got a bit of its own arse, I thought. It wasn't really funny anymore. But anyway, let's get back to the point of the show today. Is we're going to be talking about 2022, what we've enjoyed, blah 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 blah. So first of all, I'm just going to ask you the question: What is the TV show, movie that surprised you most this year?
For me, the TV show that surprised me the most, because I went into it not knowing anything about it. It was Sandman. I absolutely loved Sandman, and I didn't think I saw a trailer of it, and I thought it was a bit. I don't know. It didn't look that good from the trailer. So I went into it because it was number 1 on Netflix. So I thought I'll give it a go, and I binged it in about 2 days. It was I loved it, absolutely loved it.
For me, I think what I've put there, because obviously Sandman's on my list, and that's my number 1. Want more? I cannot wait for the second series. I adore this. You know what though? After the first episode, you ever have these series that you think the first episode goes by and thinking, I'm not sure. I didn't like the guy playing the Sandman. He didn't say anything for the 3 episodes. And I thought I don't like the actor, and I wasn't quite feeling it. But by episode 4, I was just like, and by the end of it, I'm desperate for more. It was a brilliant show. A bit of a slow burn at first, but my God, it was a good show.
It was.
It's one of them shows because I listen to audiobooks on Audible. The second book is on Audible, and I've really considered listening to it because I know I'm going to have to wait a really long time for Sandman season 2. So I might just listen to it because I really want it that much. It's
going to move away from the comics, isn't it? I think for the second series, the showrunner said. So really? it was quite strictly on the comic book series for the first one. It's going into the whole thing with Satan at the end and that storyline where it ended. It's going to be going into more that. So it's going to be inspired by, but not quite as strict on the comic books. The showrunner basically said is he felt at times the story was a bit jerky because it was so strict on. They really wanted to do something that was quite close to the comic. So. Yeah, I think Bob's just made a point there. Did you guys watch Night Sky?
No, I was. Is that the one with Josh Brolin on Amazon Prime?
Yes, yeah. So okay. I mean, this is a show that's required a little bit of thought to get into, and I actually think it would have made a good movie rather than a series. But I agree with Bob there. It had promise. I would have liked more from it, but I think what we got from it, if you guys give it a watch at some point, because I don't think it matters too much that it was cancelled. From a whole point, you're not left on a big cliffhanger or anything. I don't think too much. It's not like I watched something called The Fog a few years ago, and they did one season, and it was really getting good, and then they cancelled it. But it was just no, that they're all trapped in a house, killing each other for the love of God. It's not like one of those shows that you can watch it and just enjoy it for what it was, what it is, sort of thing. But I don't think they're going to have a second series. Last time I heard, I think it's been cancelled. But you never know nowadays. Shit gets cancelled all the time and then comes back anyway. This is we have loads of zombie TV series that it doesn't matter how many times they get cancelled, they just come back. But so how about you? What's really surprised you this year?
What surprised me, I guess, wanting more though was if I'm going TV, I'm going Sandman as well. I have to. I had never read the comics or anything like that before. I'm just a fan of Neil Gaiman in general. So watching that was awesome. And if he's still heavily involved with season 2, don't screw the comics.
Oh, yeah, no, he's
loosely followed, but as long as Neil Gaiman's there, I'm a happy frickin' camper.
Yeah. I think the point of what he was trying to say was they're just going to make. You notice books and comics, and you can't strictly turn it into TV shows. They're just different genres, aren't they? They don't work. And I think elements of the first series didn't work because they really had this conscious effort to be strict. And it's actually we need to make a TV show, I think was his point. So they're going to have to move away a little bit so they can make a TV show. But yeah, let's see what happens. For me,
surprise though. Oh, should we go surprise real quick? And then
just reading Shelley's comment there.
Paying attention. I'm with you, Shelley. I'm with you when it comes to movies. Honestly. I think as soon as a movie gets nominated for best film at the Oscars, I'm well, I ain't watching that because I'm going to have to think about it. And
I'm going to have to think too hard.
I don't want to think. I just want popcorn. That blew up, did it? Brilliant. More popcorn. For me, the biggest surprise, because it was a series that I genuinely assumed I would hate because I detested the movie it spun off from. It was awful. But Peacemaker, I absolutely adored that series.
Peacemaker was amazing. The opening credits. Oh, that song. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I loved everything about that series. I actually thought it was really good. I thought it was funny. I thought the story was actually pretty good. I thought the characters were great. I know it was more of a comedy than anything else. But the main thing that surprised me that I enjoyed it so much is because I'm not a massive fan of John Cena, even though I've seen him. He did a film called a few years ago called 6 Rounds, and he was actually brilliant in. But I'm not a huge fan of that. I'm not a huge fan of wrestlers becoming movie stars. The Rock is the exception. But I hated both of the movies that it like spun off from so much that I didn't expect to love it. And I just did.
See, I didn't watch Suicide Squad because the first Suicide Squad was awful, so I never watched it. But having seen the Peacemaker TV show, I actually want to see it now.
No, don't.
It's better than the first one.
No, it isn't.
Ish.
It's much worse for me, anyway. So we express our opinions here, and everyone's opinion is valid. Mostly mine, but everyone's opinion is valid. I've got the power to kick out. I don't though now because Matt's got access.
So do I.
I've relinquished some of my power. But no,
I just got to be careful and scream "Peacemaker is awful" in the background and from the rooftops from as far away as possible.
Oh no, Peacemaker is 100% one of those shows that you either love or hate, and I completely get that.
So if there was a show that I did not want to finish that I finished this year was Peacemaker, because I was banging my head against the table every episode, but I was like,
I must keep watching it. Yeah, I've started now and I will finish. Damn it.
That was it.
You stubborn ass.
Something that I think makes a really good TV show is a really good soundtrack to go with it, and Peacemaker had a fantastic soundtrack to go with it.
And
James Gunn music as well.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, but it just had characters actually. Like by the end of it, I really cared about, and I just thought it was great. And obviously, Robert Patrick as his dad was just brilliant. There's a series a few years ago. They did a spin-off show from I forget what it was called. Let's give me some. Speak among yourselves. I'll be back in a second.
Back in a second.
Move on. But anyway. There's a TV show that was similar, and it had the Fall Guy. Who played the Fall Guy?
Ryan Reynolds?
No, the original from the series in the 60s. In the 80s.
That's Free Guy. Oh, not Fall Guy.
Lee Majors. Right, Lee Majors played his dad, and it was The Living Dead from The Living Dead. It was the series with that. And they did a TV series, and it was just brilliant. And Lee Majors was his dad, and he ends up running over his dad in a car and crushing his brain. It's just glorious. But anyway, right, so sorry, I have one of those things. You have a thought and you can't get it out of your head, but you can't have words that go with the thought. But anyway, we'll move on. So what have you binged this year? So what did you start watching and then you just went, I must watch the next episode immediately and stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning watching all of these now? Stormy's not with us again, but for me, I know Stormy's answer would have been the Living Dead. He watched one episode because he thought Walking of the Living Dead. He watched one episode and he ended up staying up 4 in the morning watching the rest.
Walking of the Living Dead. That's a new one.
What is it? The
Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead. I never watched it.
I never watched it. I don't know what it's called.
Is it based on Night of the Living Dead? Is that where I'm coming from?
No, it's based on comic books, The Walking Dead by Robert Kirkman, the guy that also does Invincible for Amazon Prime and all that. Those comics and all that. Okay. Good guy. Yes.
I loved the start of it because I like the main actor in the first season. So the British guy that was, I don't know his name, but I really I started to watch it because of him, and then I just realized zombies are stupid and stopped watching it. So, yeah. How about you guys though? What have you binged this year?
I binged. I don't know when it was. Probably sometime towards the beginning of this year. Better Call Saul. Mm-hmm. My best friend had basically told. I've watched Breaking Bad like 5 times over. It's one of my favorite TV shows of all time. I did start watching Better Call Saul a few years ago, and then couldn't get into it because the first season was really slow. So I never finished it. But my best mate basically messaged me going, "Oh, this is the last season of Better Call Saul, and it's really good." So I'm like, "Okay, I'll watch it." I finished season 1, and after season 1, it gets so good, and I literally binged 5 seasons in about 2 weeks, and then had to wait about a month, maybe 2 months. I can't remember how long it was, for season 6 to come out, and then binged all of that in about 2-3 days. Oh, absolutely! It's fantastic. It's like if you've never seen, if you watch Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul is better than Breaking Bad.
That's what I've heard.
Yes,
I've heard it. I mean, Bob Odenkirk is just fan-frickin-tastic, but
yeah. Did you see him in Nobody?
Nobody. Yeah. Oh, that was one of the best movies of the year too, and I almost forget about it.
Talking about movies that surprise you, but I saw that as soon as I thought it's John Wick, but with a tint on it. I love that movie. Yeah. It's a proper action movie.
It was made by Chad Stahelski, the guy that wrote John Wick and directed the first one. So,
yeah, I just love it when he gets back on the bus.
It's got very John Wick vibes.
Yeah. But I love it when he gets back on the bus. I'm going to kick your asses. And they're all like, really? And then he doesn't. And he gets thrown off the bus. And then he gets back on and beats the shit.
And now he's like, this time.
Yeah. Try again. I got to it's just, it's such a clever movie. From beginning to end, it's a really clever movie, but acted so well. It's absolutely brilliant. Bobby Harris, what have you binged other than Stargate, which we know you've been binging?
I was about to say I've binged a hell of a lot of Stargate this year, but the only other thing that I think I've really binged was I binged Cuphead when it came out just because I love animation like that, and Netflix does a great little Cuphead show, and those are like 15, 20-minute episodes. But the only thing I've really binged besides that was the one, I guess the two things technically that I have to binge every single year is Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra. I have to. Those are my yearlies. I take that back. At the very beginning of the year, I did binge Ben 10 as well, because I had just binged those two shows, and I was like, I want another good kid show that I really liked when I was younger. That's actually fun. So I went Ben 10. Little Omnitrix over there, you know.
I did. On similar note, I binged the He-Man cartoon series with Kevin Smith. I waited for them all to come out, and then I binged it. But partly because I had COVID, so I was off for a few days, and partly because I knew I was going to probably hate it, so I thought I've just got to get through it. Just like rip the Band-Aid off and get through it. And I had a love-hate relationship. And we're getting a second series of the Masters of the Universe, and I did have a love-hate relationship with it. But I got a love-hate relationship with most of what Kevin Smith does. So Dogma, one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. I love that movie. Almost everything else he's done since, not so much. And you can not watch Dogma anywhere. You can't watch it. Nothing. No streaming service. Nothing. Completely gone. Oh, internet's gone. He's back again. What are you going to say, Matt? Sorry.
I was going to ask Harris a question, but he's talking.
Sorry, I've got a sleeping person behind me that's going to the spa in 10 minutes. I was just making sure she'd be ready to go to the spa, of course.
I was going to ask, did you say you like watching cartoons on Netflix?
Of course.
Inside Job.
The what?
Inside Job.
I
watched
that?
Yeah, it's very good. It's very funny. It's I don't know how to explain it. It's just stupid humor, but it's really good. It's really good.
I'm not mixed up with the same thing. It's like the Men in Black type thing.
Yeah, she works for the government because essentially the whole conspiracy of the world is ran by shadow cabal. That's true in this universe, and she works for them. And they
basically work for the company that sort of works for them.
It's like a corporation. Yeah.
It's ridiculous in its stupidity, but it's proper like airplane humor. It's that sort of thing, and really stupid.
The squid alien thing. The guy who plays that is the guy from Stranger Things. You know, the guy who pretends to be Russian.
Oh, okay.
That's his voice. I started watching it. I'm like, I know that voice from somewhere. I don't know if he was in Game of Thrones. Was he?
Yeah, he played not. I almost said Dario Naharis. That's not it. He played the dude that trains Arya. I can't think of the guy's name. It's a J.
I do know who you mean, though.
Mm-hmm. I can't think of his name right now. It's on the tip of my tongue, but he's the guy that did the Russian in Stranger Things. Excellent in everything I've ever seen him in.
I'm trying to think what I binged this year. I binged Stranger Things. I held off the first part. I binged the first half. But then the second half, they were quite long episodes, weren't they? So I couldn't really do that. But and I was just so desperate to watch it by the second half. That's also going to be on my list in a second. We talk about what you're desperately waiting for more of. Got to wait like 2 years or something, haven't we? But can't wait for
Brett Gelman. That's the guy's name. Brett Gelman is the guy I'm thinking of.
Right. Yeah. I'm trying to think what else I've binged. I've started watching a show called Boston Legal, which I don't think you guys have ever heard of. But I'm binging that at the moment. I'm already I only started like 2 weeks ago. I'm already in like the third series. I've suddenly realised because of the channel, I actually do need to watch science fiction and like watch stuff. And I've just been watching Boston Legal instead. So I'm just like, I can't really talk about this on the channel, but hey, I'm going to anyway. But the science fiction connection, though, is James Spader and Bill Shatner star in it. And it's a legal comedy drama written by David E. Kelly. So if you like, like procedural TV shows like that, you'll absolutely adore it. And obviously the acting's brilliant. They really tackle some proper issues in a lot of the court cases they do. And William Shatner has got mad cow disease, and he keeps saying lock and load and shooting people quite regularly. So, I mean, basically the plot of the thing is that William Shatner is the greatest living lawyer. He's the greatest lawyer that's ever lived, sort of thing. He's never lost a case, but he's got Alzheimer's, or as you mentioned, so he's starting to lose his faculties. But then he hears about mad cow disease, and then he's just telling him, I've got mad cow all the way through. So, Boston Legal is one of my favorite TV shows, and I found it on Disney because it was an old Fox show, so I started watching it again. But they've just had an episode actually where they slag Fox off all the way through because there's a teacher that's banned Fox News from the school, and they just keep going on and on about how crap Fox News is and how biased it is and everything else, and they keep like little digs because they're actually on the Fox network. That's who makes the show. It's just fantastic. But
I did watch.
Denny
I did
Crane.
watch a show with James Spader quite recently, but I need to watch more of it. The Blacklist, that was pretty good.
Yeah, Blacklist after about the third season, it went off the wall for me. But that's one of those shows that the first season was beyond brilliant. The first season was so good, and then it got a bit. It did. I don't think they quite knew how to do it after the first season. It's a bit like Fringe, where the first season was beyond fantastic, and then they kind of thought like, oh shit, we didn't think it was going to be this popular. What do we do? Don't
get me started on Fringe.
I love the show, but it just sort of like I went, oh crap, people are watching this. We're going to have to actually think what to do with the second series. I tell you what show that was really like that. What was the TV show that it started with? She was in a bag in Times Square and she'd lost her memory.
Oh yeah,
and she'd had her memory wiped. It was the biggest show on telly the first season, and it's something like Blacklist. That's why it's bugging me. I can't think what it's called. It had the guy from somebody get in the comments, please, and help us out. The other guy that starred in it was actually in a British soldier show over here. Oh, what was it called? I tell you what, it was the actress that played Thor's. What's that?
Blind Spot.
Thank you. The first season was fantastic, and it was a really, really cool story idea. But they painted themselves into a corner, and you could tell by about the third season they were like, "Oh shit!" But it actually ended really strong. But the third season was like, ooh, "Why am I still watching this?" Because I need to know what happened. But Blind Spot was, they definitely painted themselves into a corner in that show. But yeah, it was the most highly rated show on TV in its first season. It's fantastically popular. But yeah, so I haven't binged a great deal this year, which is weird because lots of streaming services though they've stopped dumping everything in one hit, and they've gone back to sort of like once a week. They don't drop things like that anymore.
Except on Netflix.
I prefer it when they drop it all at once though, because I can binge it. I like binging. We've had this discussion before. But I prefer binging to waiting every week. I don't have the patience.
Yeah,
you like everything everywhere all at once. which that's got to be my most that's my favorite film of the year. Still, I love it.
That's my probably the film that surprised me the most. I know Michelle Yeoh is awesome, so I was expecting it to be good, and then I went and I watched it, and I did come away going, yeah, how many times have you ever watched a movie back to back? You've watched a movie, then rewound it and watched it again. Well, you haven't rewound it because that's from my era when I had to rewind a film. But how often I watched it twice straight away. I watched it once and I watched it again. I've only ever probably done
I saw it 5 times in theaters, maybe 6. I loved it.
Yeah.
I've done that for many years.
Since you were a kid, sort of thing.
Yeah, I remember I used to do it with white chicks.
Rightfully so.
I used to love that film, so I used to literally watch it on repeat. That was little.
That's got woke written all over it. I've never done that, but yeah, no, I've only ever done it 3 or 4 times in my life. But yeah, I did it with that. Moulin Rouge is one of the other films I did it with. I watched Moulin Rouge and then I watched it again immediately. Don't know why. Midnight Club, Rodrigo. Yeah, that was, and Dave, that was great. Really, really good. I really enjoyed Midnight Club. It's not on my list though. Okay, we're going to get into the loaded question now. So, what disappointed you the most this year?
Manifest.
Disappointed me as well, mate. I didn't watch it.
I can't even think of anything else that I've watched that has disappointed me as much as Manifest. Even though I knew going into it was going to be disappointing, I was even more disappointed than what I expected to be.
Wow, that's pretty disappointing.
That's disappointed squared over there, or I'm from M cubed. That's disappointed cubed.
When you go into a film or a series expecting it to be rubbish and then you come away disappointed, that's pretty bad. So,
yeah.
How about you, Harris? What really disappointed you?
Don't kill me, everybody, but I cannot stand the Batman. That was 3 hours of shite. That was no. I can't do it. I don't want more. I don't. The only thing that I can stand in that movie is Colin Farrell as Penguin, and besides that, toss it. Bye. I like Andy Serkis, but he wasn't Alfred. And besides that, I mean,
no, he wasn't Alfred. Do you know what? The note I've put next to the Batman, because it is on my list, is too long, but loved it. But Batman's my favorite character, but it was too long.
I adore Batman, and that's why I didn't like it that much. Is because you have so much to pull from, and who's the villain? Is it Penguin? Of course it's Riddler, and it's also Carmine Falcone. But give Carmine Falcone his own movie. Do the Riddler next. Do the Riddler down the road. Don't toss the Joker in here. Yeah. Why did we need Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman? She didn't play a really big part in the film at all. It was just too much with too little. There wasn't soul. There was zero soul of that movie. And if the movie doesn't have soul, I can't watch it.
I think if they do a director's cut, it would be 2 90-minute movies. If they did a director's cut.
And that hurt me the most because I absolutely adore Matt Reeves. I love the director. Fantastic director.
I say I loved it, but I loved bits of it, and that is the problem. And I loved what they were trying to do with it. But I do know what you mean. It was too long, and there was something missing from it. I will give you that. And I can't quite put my finger on what it was, but there was something missing from it.
So just saying that last sentence there about loving the director, but not being able to stand the film itself. I didn't like the film so much that I shoved it out of my memory banks for a little bit.
Accidentally
watched the Batman.
I forgot I hate this.
And then there's Thor: Love and Thunder.
Thor: Love and Thunder is the film that probably disappointed me the most this year. Because I was so excited by it and it looked really great from the adverts, and I loved Ragnarok. Ragnarok to me was just it's top 3 best Marvel movies for me. I adored that movie. It saved Thor as a character, but in a way I wish it hadn't,
100%.
Because we got Love and Thunder. Love and Thunder was, pardon my French, a complete shit show from beginning to end. It may be the worst Marvel movie that they've made, and considering a couple of the films they've done recently, that's saying quite a lot.
Yeah.
See, I haven't seen Thor.
Watch Black Widow.
I've not seen the new Thor film, but I was going to say, if in terms of films this year, the one that disappointed me most was Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange 2 is pretty bad as well.
Yeah.
Black Widow, I didn't hate. It's just a bit forgettable. It's a bit of a bleh. There was nothing in there to dislike, but there was nothing massively in there to love either. And to be honest, I'd struggle telling you what the plot was.
There wasn't one. There was no soul in that movie.
Yeah, I think Marvel has lost its soul, isn't it? I think they've definitely lost their way. They don't know what they're doing at the moment.
And they had all the chance to bring it back with, well, okay, Werewolf by Night had a little bit of soul to it, but I think that's just Michael Giacchino, the director / composer, of course. And the composer not being able to bring soul to something, come on, okay, of course he was going to do that. But Black Panther 2 was where, as a brand, as a company, it felt like it could have brought back that soul, back the necessities that the MCU needs to make it feel actually pivotal and not just third act CGI screwing around kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
But
that's my problem with Black Panther was supposed to be their flagship movie this year because of how much they knew they were going to make a crap load of money. There was so much.
Oh, yeah.
We were looking forward to this movie so much. So I wondered, did they just pull resources from Doctor Strange 2 and and Love and Thunder, maybe even where we've discussed it repeatedly, and the special effects are seriously dodgy in places. But they'd shift the resources to Black Panther, and that they were making a lot of movies because we've had 3 or 4 Marvel movies this year because of COVID, and so they're trying to catch up. But then I watched Black Panther, and I'm like, no, they haven't. They didn't shift it. Some of the special effects in this are seriously dodgy. And it's like 10 years ago sort of effect. I'm like, it just feels to me like it's quantity over quality at the moment with Marvel.
What proves that even more and is almost a slap in the face, it's meta, and it is funny to a degree, because I'll recognize it is the last episode of She-Hulk. Literally, the little Kevin machine's like, turn around. We're not going to have you transform on screen because it saves us money. It's like, okay, yes, that's funny to a degree. It's meta, but what are we all watching this for? We're not watching it for this. That's not the point why a single soul came to press play. Nobody wanted to see that. That's the exact opposite, not just tonally of what we want to see, but what we like plot-wise, what we want to see. And it's just kind of it's representative of the rest of the MCU right now. It's just kind of it's lacking that soul. Like there's no reason to be doing it at this point besides extra dollars.
The show I've got down for me for the most that disappointed me the most. I've got 2 actually, but the one that disappointed me the most was Moon Knight. Now I know somebody quite liked Moon Knight, but I was really disappointed. But I was disappointed because that was the first time I actually genuinely remember going, this is Marvel, and I really don't like it. And it's like, and then since then, I think She-Hulk is worse, but I was ready for it by then. My expectations had been lowered by 12 months of crap from Marvel. Moon Knight really disappointed me because it's probably the first thing Marvel did that I've literally gone, that's just bad, and I don't understand, and I didn't understand it. And I was saying to you, House, when I remember at one point I sort of got distracted by it. I was looking over here like la la la, and I looked back and there was a hippo talking. I was sort of like, what the bloody hell is going on now? And I just by the end of it, I was just like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know who's who. And to be honest, I don't care.
It was one of them you had to pay attention, otherwise you'd miss something important.
Oh, I must have missed a lot of things that were important then, because I didn't get it. It just didn't.
Well, the only other thing is the show literally purposely cuts away at pivotal important moments, and you just instead of like, yes, it makes sense with the whole associative disidentity disorder, all that good stuff, but you're cutting away from your major plot points. I don't understand the reasoning behind that, especially if you want to make fucking money. Excuse the French again, but if you want to make some money, like, show us the plot points, like
when in Rome.
Give us
yeah, when in Rome, do Rome.
Exactly.
100% on that one, and I think She-Hulk sort of suffered from the same thing. That if they'd have the first episode of Moon Knight was bloody brilliant. It was so good. I was coming away from it going, that's so clever. But the problem is, they kept doing it. And She-Hulk, the first time they did the little meta jokes, I'm like, no, that's very good. That's brilliant. But then they kept doing it. And it's like, by the end of the series, it's just like, I don't know what's going on.
The fourth wall meta breaking is perfect. But I do like the concept of breaking the fourth wall for an episode of something, but that shouldn't be... maybe second or third or fourth season if it does that. Like at the end of the first season, you need something grounding. There was nothing grounding about the entire series at all, and then to go that meta, just it's stone spaghetti at all.
It just got beyond confusing. The Last of Night was excellent, by the way.
But you said Moon Knight for disappointing shows.
Yeah. But yeah, Moon Knight was the thing. And I'm going to throw Catwoman's Pigeons here a little bit, I think. But the other show I've got listed for my disappointed me, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi.
What?
I thought you might. That was the reaction I thought I might get. I found it boring.
Oh no, I completely agree. That's same with Thor: Love and Thunder. I didn't even that was in like the recesses of my brain. It was gone. I can't.
It
did have boring elements. I agree, but when it was good, it was fantastic, and I think that makes up for the boring elements of it.
In the first and the last episode.
No, the last.
What about
episode, the last episode. The last but one episode when he with the scarf. Okay, that was
the Vader scene.
That was
the best part.
That's a battle that the later battle in chronologically speaking should have been. I said to you at the time, didn't I? I saw something on YouTube and they'd redone the Obi-Wan Kenobi Darth Vader battle from A New Hope, but doing like pulling stuff in and going fucking crazy with it. And because obviously it's a completely different time, and they didn't. There was no way they could have done a fight like we can now. But the Obi-Wan fight with Darth was cool.
I really enjoyed Obi-Wan all the way through.
Again, though, now I can't actually tell you much about the plot. I can't remember it
because the middle episodes repeat themselves 3 times over.
Yeah.
Warren Beatty, the original writer who wrote it for film, not television, lays out everything perfectly, and it's just like, yeah, it should have been a movie. But of course, Disney and Kathleen Kennedy were too scared to release it as a film right now. And come on, Star Wars needs a movie.
We're in a movie.
I think it would have done fantastic as a movie, and it would have played a lot better. Like
it would have been awesome as a movie. It was supposed to be the beginning of a trilogy, and now they might not even get a second season. Have they officially announced one? I don't think so.
I thought they were getting a second season, but I
don't know if it's
going to be. McGregor
I think they said they were aiming to.
Yeah, I know Ewan McGregor is like pushing for one, but you can't destroy our boy Obi-Wan like that. And then the issue.
The problem I can see with another season of Obi-Wan is what happened in between that battle and then the final battle between him and Vader. Like what actually happened that's actually worth telling? Because he was a hermit for all intents and purposes, as far as we know.
Yeah, and where else could it go without legitimately screwing up canon? And yeah, sure, you don't need to like stick to canon like super hardcore all the time, but don't destroy the original film because of wanting to play around.
I'd be happy if they didn't make a second season. Like I think that on its own is fine because it gives you a little bit more context in between the prequels and the original films.
Yeah.
But beyond that, you don't
I like
really
that it helps with Leia a lot too. The Leia stuff is my favorite. I think at the end of the day coming out of it.
It explains how she knows him. Explains how she knows him and why she's asking for his help in A New Hope. And beyond that, I don't think there needs to be any more story with him, really.
No. Nothing official on a series season 2, but they do keep talking about it, and they were talking about it as soon as about a month ago. But yeah, so nothing official. But they've just read a little bit there about the director. It says the director is saying, like, look, everyone's shouting for season 2, and Disney would like a season 2, but it was always written and set up to be a one-off, limited thing. And where Obi-Wan's now sort of gone back to, I was saying I think there's an easy story, because Obi-Wan's gone back into the desert too positive, too like, we still need to understand why he became a hermit and how does he go from that character to the character we see at the start of New Hope. But to me, that's going to be quite a depressing series, because we're going to have to basically see his will get smashed again. You know? So in a way, it would have been better if they hadn't have made it, because at the end of, you know, the third bad trilogy film he was in, when he cuts his legs off and cooks him in the volcano, at the end of that series, his will was broken. This series, we started off with his will broken, but he like became positive again towards the end and got some hope back. And then by the start of New Hope, he's got to have his will broken again. So that doesn't make sense. But
and then I also just have issues with Liam Neeson coming back as an actual Force ghost. As much as I adore Liam Neeson and I do want him back to a degree, are we getting another George Lucas released thing where like Hayden's Christensen is playing Darth Vader in like the Return of the Jedi scene where everyone's dancing around as a Force ghost, but now Liam Neeson's added on there? Because the whole point was that Liam Neeson he's the one who taught Yoda how to do that in the first place, and Obi-Wan, et cetera, et cetera. Like it just it hurts me. But one second,
the one thing
that's America's ass. That's America's ass. I was requested to say that a couple of times. I just want to make sure I got that in.
The one thing that did annoy me about Obi-Wan was they didn't use the same technology to de-age Anakin. He did not look. He was the 40-year-old Padawan. Like there was that meme going around. Like
they did though, and they stopped halfway through the job.
It was terrible. If that was their attempt at doing it, that was shit.
Yeah, technically de-aged.
Oh God! All right. Well, has anything else seriously disappointed you guys this season? Before we move on, I think I've covered most of mine.
Oh well, Matt did mention something right prior to the stream where your disappointment was Moon Knight. His was.
Can you remember?
Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus.
Just
tell a little sci-fi Halo.
Oh yes, Halo. Yeah, that was shit. I actually hated it. Absolutely hated it. Oh, I watched like the first like 2 or 3 episodes. I tried to get into it because I do like Halo, and it just was not good. Oh, I can't even explain why I didn't like it. It just like this. The effects and stuff, fine. It looked like a show in the trailer, like it looked like it was going to be amazing, but it just wasn't. And I don't quite know what I didn't like, but I just didn't like it. I hated it. I
enjoyed it as well. One of my friends that watched it like alongside me is a big Halo person. I never played Halo. I played Halo Reach, was the only game I ever played, but he hated it because he wanted to see the silver team, I think, is the original Halo team, and this is blue team. It's like technically a different multiverse or a different universe or something. Yeah. And it was just too. He thought they were adapting, I guess, and they're not, but they are ish. I'm not entirely sure, honestly.
Well, they've got to go somewhere else. They've got something to hold back for the second series and whatever they want as well. So they've got somewhere to go. I really enjoyed it, but I was thinking about this after you said earlier. I can kind of understand why you'd hate it, because I actually genuinely think the second and third episodes, I thought it started really strongly and I thought it ended really strongly, but there was a bit of in the middle where it did lack and it was a bit hard going. So I can kind of understand why you'd lose interest. But no, I say I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the second season. I think that'd be great.
Yeah,
See, I just don't think.
I liked it.
I honestly don't think they should make TV shows out of games. I just don't think it works.
If they're going to do it, it needs to be sort of like inspired by. Again, talking about how books and comics and things don't always translate into movies. Great, and you can't do a strict. I just think it's why the end of the Harry Potter's movies sort of go, and sort of fizzle out because they kept it quite reasonably strict to the book. They cut a lot out, obviously, but reasonably strict to the book. And that's how books work. They sort of do an epilogue sort of thing, where movies don't. They tend to end on a end. But I'm with you. I think inspired by is fine, because they got some really cool stuff. But hey, look, we're going to have to put up with Super Mario Brothers soon. And that might be a poke in the eye and I hate this movie moment.
Are they seriously making that into a film?
It's been made.
Have you not seen the trailer? I actually think that's going to be great. Everyone's so mad about Chris Pratt, but I think it's going to be excellent. And everyone in Italy is excited about it, so something's got to be right. I'm just saying.
Because the trailer over there, the voice is Italian, probably.
No, I showed people the American trailer.
So Chris Pratt has done it, but he's just done it. His voice. There's no, hey, Luigi. There's none of that. He's just gone, hey, Luigi, you're right, mate. And it's.
I'm going to watch the trailer.
But the trailer without Mario in is quite cool. I like it when the croc comes down. I like it when they're going, attack! And they all throw the snowballs at him and they're just stood there going. And then they just go, and everyone explodes. It might be all right. Hey, when Sonic came out, I thought that was going to be awful. And actually, the Sonic movie is great. But it should be called the Jim Carrey movie.
Yeah. And this one, Jack Black is Bowser. He's got to take the cake here. I mean,
this might actually be all right because it's cartoonized. It's not live action. If it was live action, that's what my fear was, like Sonic.
Yeah, but I mean, I actually really enjoyed Sonic. I really enjoyed both the Sonic movies. But I have you know, it's like how you're supposed to be in touch with your inner child. Mine's firmly in the driving seat, and it's and my inner child goes, "What's that?" And I'm like, that was the part of me that when Pikachu came out, I went to the cinema to watch it. It's like obviously because Ryan Reynolds was in it as well, and I love Ryan Reynolds. But yeah, my things. So right, so guys. Let's talk movies really, really quickly. So, are there any movies that you've seen this season that you've just thought that's a standout? That is effing brilliant. And I'm going to throw the ball out there first one. I think genuinely the best sci-fi movie of this year so far. Sorry, has been Nope. I thought that was true, proper sci-fi. I know it's a little bit of horror in there as well, but proper sci-fi movie. I think it's probably the only really that I would say like proper sci-fi film of the year. But what do you guys think? Is there anything that stood out like that you just think that was just respect to it sort of thing?
I mean, in a sci-fi sense, Vesper.
Anything, but I throw that out there because I genuinely thought it was just phenomenal.
Yeah, no. In a sci-fi sense, I'd say Vesper in a way, just because it's not like giant. It's not a big movie. It's not really 1,000% grasping or anything. But from someone who wants to be a filmmaker and just adores sci-fi, that's how you do it with the low budget, and that's inspiring, I guess, in that sense.
That's what I was going to say. Really. What film have you respected this year? So that's a perfect example. Yeah.
There's been a bunch. The Northman, we talked a little bit about that, is something that I want more of, but there's no way you get more of. It's essentially just the story of Hamlet, but it's Amleth, it's the original story, and that's just excellently made in every sense of the word.
Yeah. How about you, Matt? Anything jump out into your mind? Doesn't matter if it doesn't matter, just...
I mean, the only real film that I've watched that's even somewhat related to sci-fi is The Adam Project. And it's a kid's film, but I actually quite enjoyed it. It was quite good.
I don't think that sort of film doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be clever. It's just got to tell a story. And that film, to me, with Adam Product, was just like we've got this basic plot. It's not it's not breaking any molds. We've got these cool sort of weapons. We might sell some toys, and Ryan Reynolds is in it. And they just sort of went, yeah, okay. And they just did.
His dad is the Hulk.
His dad is the Hulk. So you can't. And the kid that's in it is brilliant. And what was the movie he's going to be doing? He's going to be doing something brilliant. I think he's going to be in the Never-Ending Story.
Percy Jackson.
Percy Jackson.
Never-Ending Story.
And Rick Riordan is heavily involved. Thankfully, the author.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be phenomenal. But yeah, there is rumors that there's Never-Ending Story and he'll be in that as well. But I think they were just
watching that.
I don't know if I want more.
There's a list of films. We discussed it. They don't need to do that. They don't need to do Flight of the Navigator, and they don't need to do Big Trouble in Little China. And the chances are they're going to do all three. And no, it's not necessary. It's just shit. Some films just don't need to be remade. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. They didn't need to be remake that film. And look at the absolute poop fest they did. And after they did it with Johnny Depp, they've done it again. They've done another Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I think it's a streaming series this time. But just
have they? You know, they're the prequel that they're filming right now, right?
It's the prequel, sorry, isn't it? Yeah, that's the movie they're doing right now. It's a young Charlie and the Chocolate.
Timmy Chalamet is.
It's just don't do it. But anyway, so I would also throw in Top Gun Maverick in that genre of talking about films that just does what it says on the tin. Is it
Wonka you're talking about?
Wonka, yeah, something like that.
Is it called Wonka?
Doesn't need to be done. That's not a film you want to have a couple of pints and then go and order the tickets for, is it? What did you call me? You're going to end up having a fight with the tickets out. But yeah, Top Gun Maverick, again, nothing big, nothing clever. They didn't reinvent the wheel. They just did.
Oh, it's Star Wars.
Absolutely phenomenal movie. Beast with Idris Elba as well. Before we go on to the last question.
Yes, I did enjoy that.
Great movie.
There were a couple other just fantastic films that came out through the year. Matt, are you? But have y'all seen Banshees of Inisherin yet?
No, but my mom and dad have.
That might be the best film of the year. It's so good. It is so well made, and it's just excellently acted, etc.
Yeah,
but
if you want socks with that logo on, you can't have them because I didn't put socks on when I did this logo. But everything else you can get socks.
If you want this, you can't have it.
Can't have it unless you beg me. And then I suppose I could. I don't think it would look right on socks actually. But this design, if else, sidedistrict.com. Buy stuff because then I'll be allowed to continue to do the show because my wife will let me. My wife's very happy.
It makes wonderful Black Friday and Christmas gifts.
Oh yes, and this design actually can get 10% off at the moment if you get on there quick. So, right, the last question of the evening before we toodaloo and you go back to your Italian adventure and Matt goes back to living in a box, probably. Is it that way you do under a bridge or something? And I've got to go make tea. Shut up, Matt. The last question of the day is: what are you desperately, after watching this year, what are you desperately waiting for more of? We've touched on this a little bit, but what are the shows that you're thinking, I can't wait for the sequel or the next bit or whatever?
Sandman.
All day.
Mandalorian when that comes out next year. Is it next year or is it year after? It is next year, yeah.
I don't think we've had a Mandalorian this year, have we? But Boba Fett, and I would say Mandalorian, Boba Fett. These series are all intertwined, aren't they? So they're all like,
yeah.
I'm looking for. I mean, Manifest next year, just because I need to finish it, but I'm not looking forward to
it. Oh God. Yeah. Okay. How about you, Harris? What are you desperate for next year?
TV show wise, just I know it's not coming next year, But I need more House of the Dragon and I need more Andor. Just quickly. Give me all of it. More.
Doctor Who. Doctor Who's on next year.
There you go.
With David Tennant.
Yes.
I am actually looking forward to that. And yes, I will be excited about that. I've not been excited about Doctor Who for about 5 years. So that I will watch. For me, Strange New Worlds, the second season. It's out soon, actually, I think. I don't even have to wait till next year. But Strange New Worlds saved Star Trek as far as I'm concerned. I've not liked everything else. I've not liked Discovery. So Strange New Worlds, oh yes. And so we're not getting Stranger Things next year either, but I'm desperate for more Stranger Things. I really, really want that to end.
Is it not next year?
I don't think it is.
No, it takes too long.
Well, I know it took them a long time to make the last season. That's just because it was COVID related.
Yeah,
I think they want to push it out faster. This is going to take some time.
Yeah, it's all the actors, getting all the actors. Maybe mainly Bobby trying to get her. She's busy lady. I would say the next June, which I don't think that's next year either, is it? But the next June, I love the June movie. Actually, I'm really looking forward to the series actually as well. That's going to be on HBO Max next year. So that would be really good. A couple of really quick movies though that I have enjoyed this year that I forgot about that are on my list. Bullet Train with Brad Pitt was bloody brilliant. Again, not a massive, just really like character-driven movie, but fantastic. And we talked about rom-coms. I'm a secret rom-com lover. I loved what's it called? Ticket to Paradise with George Clooney and Julia Roberts. I watched it a couple of weeks ago. It's just a perfect movie. It's just lovely. You just come away going, "Oh, that was a nice movie." It's just a really sweet film. And
Jay's heart grew 3 times.
It does occasionally, and then it shrivels back up into a black husk. But another thing that disappointed the crap out of me this season and this year, and it shouldn't have done, was The Man Who Fell to Earth. And I watched that because I was a massive fan of the original movie, and I thought it was going to be great, and it just wasn't. I found it incredibly boring, and that's it. That's where we're at. But Mandalorian, 100%.
Mandalorian and Ahsoka next year. Those take my place for the Andor and Hot D over there.
Yeah. I think honestly, Star Wars could do no wrong for me on the TV at the moment, other than
except for Obi-Wan. And Book of Boba Fett too, though. I mean, it's more mid compared to just Obi-Wan.
On Book of Boba Fett, but those 2 episodes he's not in. Oh, they were right.
You mean Mandalorian season 2.5 or 1.5, yes. Wherever it was.
The Mandalorian, when Mandalorian took over, and the whole thing with the actor's name. The cowboy in the village, and he was shot by. Timothy Olyphant. Timothy Olyphant needs his own series. I love that actor. I think he's great, and he's fantastic.
He was really good in the Santa Clarita Project. Yeah. That was really good.
Yeah,
I love that series. That's supposed to be coming back for another series as well. And it's just been like 3 years since it was on the screens.
Was it Drew Barrymore and him? It's a weird show. It's like a weird premise, but it's actually pretty good.
It's cannibalism, right? Isn't it based around them eating people?
She's a zombie. Isn't she a
zombie? Essentially, yeah.
And she has to eat things to stay alive. But if you ever watched iZombie, that was on the CW, wasn't it, years ago? It's a similar sort of premise, and it was actually quite good.
It's funny because she like kills the neighbor, and it's just his hand in the garden, and the bloke walks in, he just sees the hand and goes, "What did you do?"
What did you do? I'll tell you what, if you want a Timothy Olyphant fix, go watch Justified. It's just brilliant television. And you'll recognize, when it's a great TV show when you got all these actors that are in it. You go, oh, I know him from that other thing that he was in after. And it's because, it was just brilliant, brilliant TV show. But guys, right, so that was our look back at 2022. Yes. Thank you very much for joining as always. I think maybe next week we will have a little bit of a chat about what we're looking forward to over the Christmas period as we're coming into Christmas. So we'll have a bit of a jingle bells week. But not just that, what we're looking forward to early next year as well. So we'll have a look at that. And just anything else you guys want to talk about in the comments as always. So thank you so much. Say bye-bye, Matt.
Bye-bye, Matt.
Shut up, Matt! Every week I say that, and I say shut up, Matt. When are you going to learn? When?
When are you going to learn? I'm not going to shut up.
To be fair, it would be slightly crap if you did.
Shut up, Matt. All right. I'm leaving.
I'm not here to be spoken to like this. How dare you?
Takes the green screen down with him.
I don't have a green screen anymore. This is all video processing.
Yes, I can tell. But every time you move your head, and a big, massive lump of the wall appears.
Here's my actual green screen.
Oh man, you're screwing your teeth up there. But anyway, our young American. Say bye-bye, Harris.
That's America's ass. For Shelley and Mark in there.
We love Italy. Are you going to be back in California next week, or are you still going to be in Italy?
I'm leaving Italy tomorrow morning, but I will be in Texas. I might be back in California by Sunday. I'm not positive. I got to actually check on that. One of the two.
That'd be great. We'll have all the gunshots in the background.
But of course.
Well, of course. Guys, thank you so much as always. It's been emotional. Hopefully we'll get Stormy back at some point, but he's working really, really hard. But I'm sure he wants to come back as soon as he can. But in the meantime, bye-bye, everybody. See you soon.
Bye.